Hey friends, I'm so stoked that you would join me for a midday reset. Whatever it is that your day has presented today, I hope you can give yourself this short period of time to just come within, body and mind, and clear the slate for a couple. We're gonna start in some form of a seat. I'm gonna find a cross-legged position. You're welcome to join me in this shape or take another one that serves you better. We're gonna sit to our absolute height. So however it is that you can get there, even putting something beneath your seat, a block or a blanket. And then take a dramatic roll of your shoulders and release the upper back as you drop them back and down. And when you're ready to, if you feel comfortable, you'll also close the eyes. We'll just try to clear a couple really grounding, releasing kind of breaths through us. And so since we've allotted this time to ourselves to reset, really give full awareness to the movement of your breath here. The amazing thing about our breath is it's this vital function of our body that is happening all day, every day, whether we're thinking of it or not. And it's absolutely amazing the clarity that can come from delivering our attention onto this force of ourself and just participating in it for a couple of minutes. For the next 3 or 4 breaths, invite them to be the longest and fullest breaths that have moved through you today. And the next time you exhale, open your eyes, take your shoulders in a soft roll back and down, and release your fingertips down to the floor. And walk the fingertips away far enough from your hips that you feel like it's a little bit of an effort to stretch out in that direction. With your next inhale, you're gonna reach your right arm all the way up to the sky. And then with your exhale, you're gonna sink over toward the left side. We're gonna bring this side to side. So you're gonna use your inhale to elevate the crown of your head back up, ground your right fingertips, and then exhale, sweep left arm. Side to side in this flow, every inhale through center and exhale away. And depending on the length of your breath, that's really gonna dictate how long the length of your pose needs to be. So if you can slow your breath down quite a lot, your movement's gonna be really slow. And if your breath is a bit faster, then your movement will be a little bit faster. There's no need to try to follow me or follow my breath, particularly because I'm talking. One more on each side. So we'll end off stretching all the way over to the right, and then elevate back through center, and again pause. Use an in-breath to really lift and crunch your shoulders up under your ears, and then exhale, drop the upper back and lower them back and down. And do that twice more. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, back and down. Once more, up. And then back and down. We're gonna come to all fours. You can kick your feet around to the side or roll over the front of the knees. You're gonna join in a variation of tabletop pose where your fingers can spread out wide and your shoulders will stack up over your wrists and your hips will stack up over your knees. We're gonna just go really classic with our cat-cow. So with an in-breath, roll your chest open, lift your gaze to wherever it's comfy. And then with an exhale, push the floor away and release the head as you round your upper back. Good, every in-breath, tip your tailbone high, peel your chest open. And then every exhale, feel like your shoulder blades are stretching wide and the neck releases. 2 or 3 more. Follow the gliding nature of your own breath. Start to acknowledge any places that might be tight or sticky along the path. And the next time you inhale and look forward, we're gonna reposition the hands to be at least 6 inches in front of the shoulders with a generous grounding spread of the hands. You're gonna tuck your toes and lift your hips all the way back and up for our first downward facing dog. Just indulge the body in any way that it might like to move for a breath or 2. And then when you're ready, we're gonna find a little strength. Push forward with an inhale to a plank pose. You can always lower your knees. And when your exhale comes, we're gonna come all the way down to the mat. We're gonna take 3 pulses of our cobra here. So bring your hands to come and frame your breastplate. Power up your legs so the front of your pubic bone is anchored, and when your in-breath comes, peel your chest open, and then exhale, release your chest. We're gonna do that twice more. Every in-breath, lift the chest away from the pubic bone, draw the tips of the arm bones back, and then bow. I'm gonna take 1 more like this. Inhale, lifting up, and then exhale, bowing down. Let's push through hands and knees to rise back to a long table, and with toes tucked, we'll lift hips up nice and high for our first downward facing dog. Looking forward to our hands, we're gonna take a walk or a single step and come to the top. When you get here, your feet will squiggle out so they're about as wide as your hips. And when you're ready to, we're gonna sink the head and the upper back toward the earth over the front of our legs. Now, depending on how your body settles here, you could welcome yourself to just let arms hang, or if it feels good, you could reach for your elbows. You can bring flexion into the knees or not. 1 more really, really long, full breath. Good, and then from here, flexion through your knees. Let's roll to stand. Use an inhale to lift and roll and round and come up. And the exhale settles us in. We're gonna push really evenly through our feet. Elevate completely through the body so we feel the muscles of the body begin to tone to the bones of the body. A peeled open space to the front of the chest, and when your inhale comes, you're gonna lift up. Bind your last 3 fingers overhead, and then exhale, sink your upper body a little to the right. Good, with an inhale, lift yourself through center, and then exhale, upper body a little to the left. Awesome. Inhale, lift up through center. Keep your head lifted. When your exhale comes, release your hands. We're gonna find fingers into a bind behind us. I recommend a really generous bend in the elbow so you can loop the whole shoulder onto the back. Peel open through the space of the front of the chest and breathe 1 more powerful breath. Good. When your exhale comes, release your hands, flex through your knees, and come down all the way through a fold. Halfway up with an inhale. And then again, a fold. We're gonna plant our hands and step all the way back to a plank pose. When we get to this plank pose, we're gonna pause this time. So you could pause with your knees lifted or lowered. I'm gonna leave that to you. Really pull your chest forward and hips elevate with the strength of your legs. Good. When your next exhale comes, push forward on your toes and come all the way down. Cobra pose with an in-breath, and then downward dog with an exhale. With your hands plugged evenly to the floor, use your next inhale to reach your right leg behind you. When you get it to the top, bend the knee and crack the hip open to give the front of the hip a bit of a stretch too. You look forward to your hands. We're gonna guide this knee in under our chest, step the right foot all the way through to the hands, and we're gonna set up for a high lunge where our back heel stays lifted and our knee stays lifted. And when we're steady, reach your shoulders up out of your hips into high lunge posture, crescent lunge. Breathing a couple of nice fluid breaths here. Okay, our next exhale is gonna transition our left heel to plug down for warrior 2. It's not always the absolute smoothest transition, so if it doesn't work for you, heel toe your feet around until you can get front heel to intersect back arch. Spread your fingertips wide. Take 1 more big, full breath. Good. When your exhale comes, bring both hands down, inner edge of front foot. We're gonna walk into a straddle. So all 10 toes are gonna pivot till they face the long edge of the mat. And then you're gonna start to sink deeply into your left hip. So you can keep your left and right heel plugged to the floor. If it feels good, you can even start to hover these right toes. Fingertips can be a deep support, or if it felt available, spread your wings out wide. Breathe 1 more. Good, fingertips come all the way back down. We're gonna walk all the way back up toward this right foot. Plug your hands into the floor and step back to downward facing dog. Good. When you get here, we're gonna pulse forward on our toes, shoulders up over wrists. And with an exhale, you're gonna come down to the mat. Cobra pose on an inhale. And then downward dog, pulling back. Hands stay spread. Wait for an in-breath, left leg lifts high, bend the knee and stack the hip. And then look forward to your hands and try to step this foot quietly through to the front of the mat. Back heel and knee stay lifted. When you're steady, arms lifting up. Melting the shoulders down. Finding some space to really find steadiness. One more. Good, back heel's gonna turn and plug. Warrior two spreads the chest open to the long edge of the mat again. Breathe a nice solid breath. Fantastic, from here we're gonna use an exhale. Bring both hands down, inner edge of front foot. We're gonna walk ourselves out to the long edge of the mat till all 10 toes are into a straddle. And then slowly use an exhale to dip deeply into the right hip. Again, left toes can stay rooted or lifted. And if it feels good, you might even fly your arms open wide. Breathe into the intensity in your outer right hip. Good, with an exhale, bring your fingertips down to the floor. Take a big shift, press through your hands, and step back to your downward facing dog. Big, nice spread of the fingers, roots the inner knuckles of the hands to the floor. Lift your hips up super high and clear one more beautiful breath. Good, look to your hands, use an exhale to walk or take a great big step and come to the top. Come halfway up when you land and then fold completely. Awesome, arms to the sky, inhale. Hands through the center, come down. Good, finding change, in breath. And then forward fold, let it go. Half extension again with an inhale. And then release your fingertips and step your right foot back. Heel and knee stay lifted. We're gonna sweep up smoothly, high lunge pose. This time, keep the steadiness in your legs. Use an exhale to release your hands like when we were standing. Bind the fingers behind you. Roll the chest open. From here, you're gonna really draw your belly in. So drawing the tips of the pubic bone up toward the lower rib cage. And then we're gonna push into our left foot and try to take off to a variation of warrior three. Stretch your chest forward, pull this back leg high, dropping the outer edge of the right hip down. Breathe one more. Good, you're gonna release just your hands, dive them toward the floor, and then stretch your right leg up to wherever it is that the back of the leg says stop. And when your exhale comes, step your right foot down beside your left, come halfway up, and take a smooth bow. Arms to the sides, full body stretch. Hands through the center, come down again. Let's do one more. Inhale. And forward fold, exhale. Again, elevate the chest in breath. And then fold. Fingertips to support you, left foot back. So the same thing, stabilize through the feet, sweep up nice and high. High lunge pose. Once you're sure that you have the legs and the belly on board, use an exhale to sweep your hands back behind you. Find that soft grasp behind your back body. Really peel open through the front of the chest. And when you feel stable enough, bring your weight forward into your right foot and take off. Pull the chest forward and the toes back and breathe. And sometimes this is all we need midday, is just something to really focus all life energy on. We're gonna release the fingertips, release them down to the floor and take a big stretch, left toes high. Awesome, release those down to the floor. Come halfway up and then fold. And from here, we're gonna flex through our knees quite a lot. Catch the floor however that makes sense to you and lower down through a seat. Gonna take a moment to press soles of the feet together. Knees are gonna fall out wide. You sit up super tall through the front of the chest. Drop the shoulders all the way back and down. Again, clear a couple more breaths where they're even and they're long and they're smooth. And you could choose to stay in this elevated position, or if it feels good, use a little bit of leverage onto the ankles or the feet. Reach your chest forward to your toes. And as you hinge through the hip crease, there'll be a place where the body has enough resistance where it says, stop here, this is good. And when you get there, soften your head, release your shoulders, the muscles of your neck, the muscles of your jaw. Just indulge to see what kind of magic you can bring through with focusing on your breath here for 3 more. With an inhale, come and sit up really nice and tall. We're gonna gather the legs back together, kick the feet out long in front. You can take a big bend through the right knee, bring the sole of the foot to the outer edge of the left hip. And then I'm gonna leave it to you. You can either leave the left leg long, so both sides of our seat stay to the floor, or you can cross the left heel over to the right sit bone. Again, ideally it would be great if both sides of your bum were pressed to the floor or lifted up just slightly onto a blanket or a cushion, not just cocking off toward one side. From here, we're gonna twist across our top bent knee. So your left hand can guide you, rotating your chest toward the top of the thigh bone, and the right fingertips, your right fingertips, can support you back behind your seat. Sit tall through the crown of the head. Let the spiraling really happen through the space of the front of your chest. Breathe one more. And it might feel good with an inhale. Turn your chest forward, reach your fingertips up, and then swim down with an exhale. And lean back enough that both legs can straighten. And we'll change to the other side where the left knee bends and the sole of the foot plants. And then if it feels available, you can sweep this right heel toward the outer edge, outside. You can always come back to a straightened leg. Your right hand's gonna guide you across the front of the thigh bone. Left fingertips behind, sit tall. And through every exhalation, we might be gently nurtured into this twist. The cool thing about the breath in this moment is we really get to start to observe what an adequate edge is in this moment. It might feel really good to unravel with breath, so when your inhale comes, turn your chest forward, reach your fingertips up. And then exhale, swim down. Lean back a bit on the hands and release. We're gonna come all the way down onto our back just for a moment. So however it is that you wanna get there, roll on back. And when you get here, we're gonna lift knees in toward our chest. It might feel really nice to just take a moment to rock or to sway. And then part your knees open quite wide and slide your hands up the shin bones until you can either grasp the ankles or potentially all the way around the blades of the feet. Lift the soles of the feet toward the ceiling in a happy baby posture and try as you might to start to sink the tops of the knees, the bottom of the thigh bone, toward the earth under your armpits. If you can, start to gravitate the tip of the tailbone back down to the mat. We're gonna just stay here for 3. Good. When your exhale comes, you're going to rebend the knees, press the soles of the feet together, wing the knees out wide, and then let go of your bind entirely, and your feet are going to come back to the floor. You can choose to roll off to the sides and use your hands, or hug the knees back in towards you and take a rock and a roll to come to sit. We're going to come back to a form of a seat that is available. No need to push anything fancy, so a cross-leg position will do if you want to sit on something, if you prefer to kneel at this moment. We're going to come back into just a moment of pause, again extending through the crown of the head, softening the shoulders, the jaw, the eyes. Take a moment with clarity to really observe how this breath comes into your body, what it fills, what it touches, how long it takes, what it's like to let it go. Choose to leave your hands on your lap, or if it speaks to you, maybe consider lifting hands together in the space at the front of your heart. And so in this moment where we have pressed pause on the day to reconnect ourselves with layers of heart and layers of mind, and most certainly layers of our body, what is it now that we will bring from this reset back into the moments and the hours to come? I thank you very, very much for taking the opportunity in your day to share this practice with me. The light that burns within me sees and deeply, truly bows to that exact same light that burns brightly in you. Namaste.